All right, guys, vertical pressing. So we're going to demonstrate that with a barbell. It's for the deltoids, medial delts, anterior delts, little pec major, little tricep synergist, etc. It's a vertical pushing movement. Great way to get strong, great way to get leaner, great way to be fit. It's a good functional exercise for overall strength, no matter what your goals. Now, I am facing backwards in this squat rack only because it's relatively lightweight for me, and I'm just for the video. Don't do what I'm about to do. You would face the other way. So ready? Vertical pressing, guys. I'm going to try not to break my microphone here. So ideally, nice position. Like I said, kettlebells, barbells, dumbbells. Press, stretch, lock out, relax. Press, stretch, relax. So I'm pressing, X amount of reps. Now what's going to happen here when I start to get fatigued and or I add too much weight? Now again, I'm in the squat rack backwards. Don't do that. Anterior delts, medial delts, shoulder exercise, great vertical pressing movement. As a compensatory pattern though, and you see this all the time, you get fatigued and you start to lean back. Why is that? You add too much weight. You should be pressing 30-pound dumbbells. You press 40s and you start to arch your back. Hyperlordosis is what that's called. It's an excessive anterior pelvic tilt. My abdominal wall has lengthened and become weakened. And boom, I'm in a bad push position now. I'm in a bad position for almost anything now. And when I say bad, I just mean higher risk of injury to your lumbar spine, which is very bad. If you've ever had back pain, you know that's no good. So what happens is we press, we start to fatigue, and the body is amazing. It will find the easy route. Think about this. So I'm tired, my deltoids don't want to work anymore. I hyperextend, I lean back a little, everyone does it, they overarch. Why? Because now my deltoids will get assistance from my pecs, and your pecs are much bigger and stronger than your deltoids. Size-wise, strength-wise, muscle fiber type-wise, across the board. That's called a compensatory pattern, and that's how people get hurt. So forget the shoulder for a minute, because I don't know if that would do any damage to that necessarily. But if you're seated or standing and you start to compensate and hyperextend, now you have an appendicular load through the arms on a hyperlordotic spine. That's a bad idea. That's a real bad idea. So I'm all about grinding a few reps out. Don't get me wrong. I get it. Real world gym life, when you get fatigued, you might get 1 or 2 reps where you're arching a little. But the reality is you should be cautious because you're in a bad position, especially when it comes to overhead pressing. Now, you can argue, well, what about when you arch in the bench? That's a little different because you don't have that vertical appendicular load coming down on you. You are horizontally pressing now. So a little bit of an arch in that sense cuts the distance you have to travel in the moment arm, making you a better bencher, pressing more weight. Hence why guys that look like me that are 6'6", have huge wingspans, are not good bench pressers. It's all about physics and moment arms. That's another video. So overarching when you're vertically pressing is a bad idea. So let's get into it a little bit more depth. When you're pressing, I always teach my athletes to, first off, posterior pelvic tilt, meaning anterior pelvic tilt, pretend you have 2 pails of water and you want to dump them forward. Anterior pelvic tilt. Posterior pelvic tilt is the opposite. Squeeze your glutes, crunch your abs. That's a co-contraction of the abdominal wall and the glutes. That's what you want. This is a very powerful position. Look at even fighters or boxers. Boom, they're tight. Pretend someone's going to punch you in the stomach. Suck in or not, that's a great debate, but flex, a little bit of tension, and a glute squeeze, which is a posterior pelvic tilt. Now your core and body are ready to press. So you'll feel it. When you get in a position, think about squeeze your butt, crunch your abs, and make a nice, clean, high stretch push. Because now when you overhead press, think about your shoulder blades. Think about your scapulas upwardly rotating when you abduct the shoulder. It's called glenohumeral rhythm. You actually want a certain amount of degrees of abduction to upward and downward rotation in the shoulder blades. So even when my athletes are pressing, sometimes I'll grab their shoulder blades, and people with shoulder pain do not have good upward and downward rotation of their shoulder blades. And you can feel that. So that's something you can assess and work on and fix and make better. So think about pressing, poking your head subtly through the window, stretching your shoulder blades, and then coming back down. And another thing, if you have shoulder pain, don't exacerbate it by pressing heavy weights. It's not going to help you. It's only going to lead to rotator cuff injuries and shoulder surgery. If you press overhead like this, body weight, you start to shrug, you can't get your arm over your head, do not press weight over your head. You're not there yet. Scapular mobility, band pull aparts, shoulder blade stuff, external rotation. You have to get the mobility before you can add strength. You're just going to put strength on top of dysfunction and you will be hurt. Not maybe, it's just a matter of time. So when you're pressing, posterior pelvic tilt, little abdominal wall crunching, press, stretch them shoulder blades upwardly and downwardly, and get a good clean set, guys. Give it a shot.